Hello, this is Don Hall. This is at Don Hall Works YouTube channel. In this channel, we do how-to ceramic videos. And today I'm up in Quail Kilns, and I'm with June Vaughn, who is a sculptor of clay. I don't know what else to call her, but I'll let her explain what she does, and hope you enjoy this video.
Well, I've been fortunate to spend a couple months now, hopefully another month, to be able to stay here and work out of the wonderful facility here with Pam Quail and Amanda. And they have been graciously opened the studio. Amanda's been throwing some pots that I've been working on, because I sort of do more of the finished work on pottery. I do a lot of hand building on my own and wall pieces, but my late husband and I used to collaborate. He would do most of the throwing and I would do the finished work. So the things that are probably premier pieces were done collaboratively with him, but I still, once a carver, always a carver. So I've been really enjoying coming here and having Amanda and Pam give me carte blanche to be able to do things. It's been very nice. I'm a little spoiled, but I've just really enjoyed it. And what I do is I try to take a piece that has, be able to look at the shape and kind of figure out maybe something that will enhance the shape. And I use added on clay, I use texture. I have very, very low-tech tools for texturing to be able to take pieces that are, are nice, but enhance them to something a little bit more unique, and using just added on clay. I think Don will show some of the pieces that I've added on stones and different mixed media. I'm really interested in multiple metals and stones and clay incorporated into the piece. This piece will not have that, but that all is a little different technique of being able to carve an opening to reset the stone after the firing, or the piece of metal, or whatever the other medium is that you want to incorporate into the pot. So it's been a learning curve. I think, I started actually by in the Northwest Coast, seeing the beautiful carved totems and thinking, well, I carve clay, but I don't really do the painting on them. So I kind of took it to another level to be able to carve out the clay, fire it, and then use paints after the fact to do some design work and to kind of get almost that sort of totem feeling. It's been just a wonderful journey, because the more you try, the more you want to, go in different directions. It's just something that I've been able to really enjoy.
We now join June demonstrating how she adds and carves the vessel that Amanda Mall, the throwing instructor at Quail Kilns, gave her to decorate.
This piece that I've had was sort of on the thin side, so I've been adding a lot of extra texture with some coils and some of these little amulets, I don't know what you call them, but little pieces of clay that have been stamped and carved. So I'm trying to continue through. I added one on the beginning side, and so this is sort of the ending part of the process. So it just is a scored piece of clay that has been designed, and then I just sort of tap it on, use my high-tech beer opener to make sure it's secure, because I scored both sides. And then I will add some of these coils that are fairly wet. You have to make sure the pot's gotten a little dry, so making sure that they will adhere well together. So I've, scored it, added a little bit of water, and then adding, these are just all sort of like external things that will be incorporated into the design to finish out this piece. So this is kind of how the process on this side started with these and adding this extra clay to give some dimension to this. This piece was sort of tall and thin, which was nice, but it kind of, I think the woman, Amanda, said she'd like a little more body to it. So I was trying to sort of, start from the top, give a little more substance to the middle. This is an old gear, and I'm not even sure what it was off of, but a friend had made a little keeper for it, and so that it can spin. And I think the first one I had was off of an old pencil sharpener, but it just has this great little texture, and it helps to kind of solidify the piece. I mean, if I add a coil and score it, it gives it wonderful texture, but it also kind of gives it a really nice sort of bond to, to adhere to the piece. Some of these other tools are very low tech. There's a pencil I use, a pen. I use the end of the pen a lot for these little textures here. It's amazing that this actually was the piece that I used on making this pattern. So just found objects are wonderful to be able to utilize in, carving and texturing tools and adding the dimension to the piece. And so from there, I'll just be adding these on and finishing it up. And I sometimes will just may even use my hand and kind of really push it in there and give it a little bit of, this has kind of got a lot of abstract, so it's not really, it doesn't have to have any real symmetry to it. It can just be kind of a little more free-flowing, and bring it down. And then I'll put another piece down on the bottom too. Score this first to make sure it's got a little bit dry. Make sure we don't get anything that sort of an even pressure to adhere those together. So it just doesn't quite want to stick, so I've got a little more scoring so it doesn't slip and slide off. There we go. And now I'll go back and that kind of seals that edge there and gives it that little texture. Anyway, that's kind of what the next, I'll just kind of go and refine the designs and, add a little carving and a little, it looks pretty, organic right now, but I'll sort of carve in and just accentuate the different patterns a little more and take out a little bit more clay with my carving tools, which I use. They're just the regular old Kemper carving tools, and yeah, I've had them forever. I don't know what I do without them. They're just sort of, I know Amanda's showing me some new and state-of-the-art things, but I feel very, very connected to my tools. See, when the clay's a little wet, sometimes it just gets a little sticky. So anyway.
One of the things I noticed when I picked up your finished pieces, they were a little heavier than you expect for pottery. It's like you have to have it a little bit thicker or else there's nothing left to carve into, right?
Exactly, yeah. I know. That was hard, I think, sometimes for Bill because he felt they were really heavy, but I really needed a lot of meat
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah. And sometimes maybe I didn't get enough meat off. I don't know.
Sort of the opposite of what potters think. They always want to make everything as thin as they possibly
Right,
can,
yes.
but
I
in
know.
this case, you need it a little thicker so you have something to carve into.
Exactly. And I'm always amazed that people they think that you carve it when it's pretty leather hard, but I actually try to get it before it while it's pretty wet. I'd rather have it be a little too wet than a little too than overly dry, because then that just takes the flow of carving. The clay.
Well, so June, this is your finished carved piece, right?
Yes, yes.
And maybe you could explain to us how you go from here to how to get to a finished.
Okay. Okay.
pot.
Well, excuse me, it's a little different process than a lot of potters. I have usually, after this has been bisque fired or high fired, in this circumstance, this was a brown clay body that we wanted to get that really pretty brown finished color, that kind of terracotta. But all the detail work is done with paints. I go in, after this is fired, go in and color and add different images and different combinations to enhance the shapes that I've carved. Some have, this texture that I've done on it is kind of a heavily textured. I usually will put like a darker stain, or I also have some sort of a bronze color that I add to it also, but just enough to sort of try to enhance the carved part and the shape of the piece to give it just that third and finished dimension that will make it just a more unique piece in my mind. And it was all, again, a lot of it was from the wood carvings in the Northwest Coast, of seeing how they could take a beautiful carved piece of wood and then be able to enhance it with their designs. And mine excuse me, don't have necessarily the symbolism of a certain culture, but they're my sort of adaptations of the different cultures I've studied and sort of assimilated into the images and the technique I use. So this is just the beginning, and this is what it will look like after it's done.
So I look at it as not so much pottery as sculpture, right? It's not really a functional.
No, it's not.
Art.
No. We had started when I first started potting. It was more definitely on the functional side, and then just you kind of had these functional pieces, and you wanted to make them just a little different, and so it sort of had this evolution of trying different techniques.
Well, thank you, June. These are really beautiful.
Oh, thank you
And,
for the interest. I appreciate that.
Oh, And so anyway, thanks everybody for watching. This is at Don Hall Works YouTube. We appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.